Hello, we're back for the 2025 season at wantamakaBet.com. Welcome back, everybody. We're late. Sorry about that. We missed last week. Cello and I were having fun in the Hamptons with our college friends, and we kept telling each other. We brought our microphones, we brought our computers, and we kept telling each other we were going to do the podcast. And I really had a good idea on Saturday night, which was to return from dinner and have kind of like a live podcast with like 6 people, and having everybody there like chime in on the picks. But I was weird. Like we got back to the house and everybody was hanging out outside at those tables.
Yeah.
But you know what the problem was?
How inebriated everybody was?
Well, that was actually a good thing, but I was gonna say that the wives were there.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was thinking to myself, maybe if they were out hanging out by the fire pit and we were at the table and like Ricky and Gerard were playing backgammon and and you and I were over here doing something, like we could have just like separated, and that would
Yeah,
have
but
been
you know
jumping.
what? I really think that we did the right thing. I didn't think it was the proper venue for the podcast. I thought it was a social weekend, that we were really going out and ending the summer in grand fashion. Doing everything right last weekend. And part of what we did that I think was right is we bet very little on games that we didn't know much about in week one. And I think when I looked at the standings in Megabucks, I think a lot of people kind of did the same thing. A lot of people had no action. People trying to get a feel for what they're seeing, and it's very tough. The player movement, the draft picks, the coaching movement, the carryover necessarily isn't always there. So sometimes you're better off to be a spectator week one. That said, my first Wong teaser of the year actually hit. So that maybe
nice.
Stanford Wong is still getting it done.
I was so disappointed that, so we were scrambling around to like get into all these contests between Survivor and the Pick 5. And I was really counting on, most Pick 5 contests that I do, at least the big ones at DraftKings. I don't know if this is true out of the Circa contest in Las Vegas, which is really the mother of all pick contests.
Sure.
But there's usually a skip week.
Yeah.
And I use the skip week in week one.
Sure.
And it's just like a perfect time to just watch everything. But unfortunately, there was no skip week in this contest. And so you're forced to pick 5 games. And, we didn't do well. We went 1-4. There were some bad beats. I kind of feel like, in the Pittsburgh game, there was a missed extra point, I believe. I'm not sure if it was the Jets or the Steelers, but that set the line into that 1-2 point, having to go for conversions, not converting them, like set that whole thing in motion. And then they end up winning the game by 2, and we're laying 2.5.
Yeah. And then the late Houston fumble.
Yeah. The Seattle San Francisco game, I thought was a total, that throw by Purdy for the touchdown was such a prayer.
Terrible play by the corner. I mean, how do you just not knock that down? He just got boxed out, and he was there. He just didn't get his hand in there. I thought that was horrible. Very lucky for San Fran. Very lucky. They waived their kicker today, which I was saying, I can't even believe they brought the guy back after last year. The guy was a disaster.
Yeah.
But they got rid of him today finally. But overall, I got to say, some of the games I thought for week one, the games were I thought pretty well played. I mean, a lot of them, the Jet-Steeler game was really great. Obviously, the Sunday night game was an epic regular season game. It probably goes down as one of the best maybe of all time, the comeback the Bills had. So, and even last night, the game turned on a dime, and the intrigue with Ben Johnson being, his first game coaching, and McCarthy had never played, and Caleb with the new offense and how that was going to work. So I was really into it last night. I know maybe didn't get a lot of style points. I'm not saying it was like as artistic as maybe the Bills Ravens, but still a good watch. Came down to the end. Bears had a chance, missed field goal. And of course, Ben Johnson, again, we say it all the time, these coaches hate points, but they lose by 3 and he elected to go for it in field goal range. I'm not saying that the kicker would have made it, but he's inside the 42-yard field goal. with a chance to add 3 points. I think you have to do it there. I didn't agree with Ben Johnson. I know he's aggressive, but I like points. I've always said that on this podcast. I think, in these games, you need as many as you can get, and you can't blow opportunities like that. So it came back to haunt them.
Yeah. That was another. I consider the Baltimore game. I had money on Baltimore. I loved them. It was one of my favorite plays of the week, and I felt like that was a bad beat. I really,
Well, I mean,
I,
Henry did fumble. I mean, it was a tremendous defensive play, and you got to give credit to Josh Allen. The guy, he does not allow his team to quit. Their defense was terrible. By the way, the Ravens defense was awful. I looked today; they're like the 32nd ranked defense in the league through week one. I get it. It was a high scoring game. They let up a ton of points, but Baltimore, the pass rush has got to be better for them if they're going to be this Super Bowl team that everyone thinks they're going to be.
yeah,
Because I mean, Lamar was great. Derrick Henry's great. There's no denying it. They can move the ball mostly at will, but they couldn't stop. I get it, it's Josh Allen, but you got to be better. I
I
thought
feel like
interesting
that the
week one.
Henry play.
Yeah,
It's funny. I was talking with Brad about this. It's like he's like a cruise ship where he's very slow to get out of the backfield, and that's the only time you ever see him have a bad play is in that quick moment where he's trying to get his momentum going, and he could be knocked sideways. I've seen him go backwards before and lose 7 yards, and that was the moment where he got the ball punched out. It's like once he gets to the line of scrimmage with
he was
any
over
kind
the
of
line of
momentum.
scrimmage. He didn't. I don't think he lost that ball behind the line of scrimmage. He was over the
Yeah,
line of scrimmage, but I get what you're saying. But
no, he
he's
did.
also, yeah,
He
he's
did.
also,
He was hit in the backfield
um,
and stripped. I
okay.
mean, what can he do?
Either way, I mean, I also saw him galloping away from cornerbacks down the sideline, for an 80 or 60-yard touchdown. So
I
once
know.
he does get his legs moving, he's a dangerous man.
Oh,
He's a dangerous man.
um,
Just real
yeah.
quick,
So let's.
I had some just some quick data after week one. I know it's only week one. So the favorites were 13-3 straight up in week one. Really tough
Wow.
day for the underdogs. But only 9-7 against the spread.
Mm,
But interestingly enough, the home favorites were 7-1 straight up.
wow.
Yeah, so like better teams at home won games,
Yeah.
and obviously, you know, the dogs, although 3-13, 7-9 against the spread, I guess isn't awful. Some of them got there, they just didn't get the game, didn't
Yeah.
get the win. But it's only 1 week data. It is what it is. Let's see if that transpires this week. It's a week to week league, as we always say.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it. Like as we go through the card, I'm curious what your take is on a bunch of these teams, whether it's just like a forgettable game or there's really something to the way that they played in week one. Like I
Yeah,
think I in my mind, and we'll talk about it as we get to each game. Some I think are sort of throwaways, and some I think there was sign of like real problems that were not resolved in the off season. You know what I mean?
sure.
And
Yeah, I do.
that's going to factor into the way that I handicap. Another thing that I'm factoring in, which I'm very happy about, is that I decided to get under the advice of some like smart guys that I follow, different podcasts, to get the NFL Plus subscription for 2025, which basically for $15 a month, I am now getting Red Zone from the NFL and also NFL Plus, which allows me to get every game not live, but after it was played.
Yeah,
So
condensed games.
I get all the rewatch, and my plan is to watch every game.
Yeah, they've
So,
had that on NFL Network. I mean, if you just
oh
pay
yeah,
for
for
NFL
years.
Network, you get the condensed games. I mean, if you just
Yeah.
have to kind of DVR the ones you want and watch them in
Well,
an
you have
hour.
no, no, no. You have to pay for it. Otherwise, you're at the whim of when they decide to broadcast it.
Yes, right.
They
If
do
you're
not
probably, it's not on
broadcast.
demand.
Yeah, they do
Yeah,
not rebroadcast every game. They usually pick the very good games from each week and they play them on NFL Network during the week. But
right.
I'm
But you
saying two
you're a
hours
streamer,
after the game's end,
right? But
you
you're a
can.
streamer. If you have FiOS or Cablevision coming into your house and you pay for the package, you have NFL Network as part of your package. So granted, it's not on demand, but you can look on their schedule and see when the game is and DVR it if you want to.
Yeah, if you wanted to, but this is so much better to just 2 hours after the game's end. you can watch it on your phone or on the website or on your
Hmm.
TV. They have an NFL app, which I didn't even know about.
Right.
Um, so now I don't have to watch that on YouTube TV and wait for the broadcast. So yeah,
If
so
you
I
need to
my
see exactly how the Browns lost, it's great for you.
yeah, yeah. And that's, you know what? And I feel that way about every game. And I and
Yeah.
I kind of like, it's not enough to me to watch Red Zone. And also Red Zone's like very frenetic, and it's just like crazy 7
ADD,
hours. And
crazy ADD.
you're at the whim of what they decide to show you. And yeah, they
Yeah,
do show you most
they're
of the
showing
good
you scoring
plays.
plays.
But I usually don't watch Red Zone anyway for more than a couple hours on a Sunday. Here and there I'll watch it, like, as the 4 o'clocks are ending and as the 1 o'clocks, like the witching hour, like
Hmm.
is just good TV, you
Yeah.
know. But I gotta say, I'm excited to rewatch all these games. Like, I've already watched 5 games from this past Sunday. I'll finish them before I do my final picks for this week. But I find it to be super helpful, and I don't have to rely on every douchebag on ESPN or the NFL Network all week long telling me what happened in the game and what they thought about what happened in the game. And you know what? I want to know what I think about what I saw, and not
Hmm.
have someone tell me what they think about what they saw. And it's just
Right.
gonna I'm very excited about
And you'll
it.
see all the plays, and you'll see you can focus on some line plays, some defensive
Yeah.
calls, how the quarterback handles certain defenses, whether he's checking out and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I get it. Like instead of just highlights, but and that's a great thing. And I like to get all the information I can and try and gather it all together as best I can, and then put it with the trend stuff and see if I can come up with 5 solid plays a week. Even
Yep.
then, it's obviously very hard to do. So
I know.
we're
All right, so
obviously
let's kick it off with
fighting an
Thursday
uphill
night
battle
game.
here.
What's that?
We're obviously fighting an uphill battle as gamblers trying to win money on NFL football.
Of course. All right. So the good news is we survived.
Yep.
Everybody did. There was really no knockouts this week, but I
True.
basically went all in across 5 different accounts with Denver. Um, and in the pick pool, we went 1-4. When we'll share with everybody that part of our strategy this year, let's see if we can stick to it, is to find the biggest survivor pick and take the other side. Because
Against
that
the
seems,
spread.
yeah, against the
Yeah.
spread, because that always seems to be a very close game. And it's
Tennessee was our only winner
usually
last week as a
yeah, and it's
result.
usually a double-digit favorite that
Correct.
everybody's piled onto, right?
Correct.
So let's kick things off with this week, which is the Thursday night game. We got a good one. We got the Washington Commanders visiting the Green Bay Packers. Um, the very first line that came out at wannamakeabet.com on this game was on August 28th. Packers were laying 2.5. It went as high as 4.
I saw
On,
4. I never saw 2.5.
well, it was 2.5 on August 28th.
Mhm.
And we've been getting line updates since then.
August 28th. I
The
mean,
total
no
is
one.
staying pretty flat. It's kind of been coming down a little bit. It was as high as 4 on Sunday, and now it's 3.5. Um, One thing I'll say about the Packer game, because I did watch it. I watched the Detroit Packer game on the playback, and the Packer defense was unbelievable. I mean, they were so aggressive. They played amazing. To me, that was like the story of the game. And Jordan Love being healthy, I think there was some question about that, but he looked really good. And and so the offense. I mean, they looked good. And Detroit looked a little bit like lacked energy, a little bit listless, especially on offense. They didn't block well, but Green Bay was so aggressive that yeah, I mean, kudos to them. They played a great game. I will say this. I have a strong opinion that the Packers get home field calls. I've always felt that way, that they get very favorable calls.
Lambeau Field.
And the score was um 17-6 late in the third quarter with about 2 minutes left. And there were 2 plays in a row. One was a sack on on
Goff.
Jordan Love,
Oh,
and
love.
then in the very next play, Branch had an interception, and nobody touched him. He went down and he took it to the house and scored. And sure enough, the yellow flag came flying up and they called defensive holding. And that game was about to be 17-13 if they kicked the extra point as the third quarter was winding down. And when they didn't get that call, I was like, oh, that's it. That was so critical. And like the tide was sort of turning a little bit. There was a little bit of a letdown. And once that happened, I think 2 plays later, Green Bay scored.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's 24-6. And now is it game over.
Yeah, that kind of stuff happens every week in the NFL. Like, you don't want to think referees are involved, but, it's just so critical, these calls, and it can turn the game on a dime. If you don't get the call in your favor, the momentum can either shift or stay the same. In that case, stay the same with Green Bay, give them another chance on the drive, right? Avoiding the turnover and the touchdown, and they make you pay. So, we've been arguing and we've been talking about referees and calls forever. Couple of things that struck me about that game and those teams. I think Detroit, obviously losing Ben Johnson and losing Aaron Glenn and the coordinators, is significant for them. I thought going into the year was going to be a really kind of a step back year for them anyway, because of the way they finished the season. I mean, with him throwing 6 interceptions at home in the playoff game and them getting basically embarrassed by Washington, a first-year quarterback in their building, dominating them, I just don't see how you recover from that. I don't think Detroit, I think they're the 3rd best team in that division this year. I think Minnesota is going to be better than them. I think Green Bay, with the acquisition of Micah Parsons, is a real strong Super Bowl contending team. If Love can learn to not turn the ball over, because they have the running back. They have great weapons at wide receiver, including the rookie Golden that they got, and they have a really elite defense. So, and obviously the coach is good. And you could argue that, especially in December, they have a significant home field advantage. So Green Bay is a scary 10-1 team. I mean, with Parsons on the team, if you ask me. So it really didn't surprise me. I thought the line was short, honestly. And I expect Green Bay and the Lions to go in absolutely opposite directions this year. I don't really like the Lions team.
But you think it's not just
the year last year. I think it's too much to overcome, losing such a brilliant offensive mind as Ben Johnson. And obviously Aaron Glenn had that defense pretty much. I mean, listen, they were hurt in the secondary in that playoff game. I don't even think Branch played in that game, their best corner. So I get it, but still, I mean, tough one to come back from. So I think that's, after overachieving potentially and driving, the Lions trying to get to that Super Bowl finally and not getting there with the loss of Hutchinson and their defensive liabilities last year. I think it's going to be very hard for them to get back there this year. Really tough.
Okay. So I guess we'll come to that when we talk about that game, but it looks like you don't think they'll bounce back and that it's more of a systemic problem that they're going to be dealing with.
And also it's interesting with Ben Johnson going back there. I mean, I'm not saying that Chicago's any good. They're not, but I just think Detroit's going to have a hard time competing for that division. I don't think they're the top dog in that division this year at all.
Yeah. Okay. And then, I don't really have an opinion. I don't know what you think about this game, but Washington, to me, played a very solid game against the Giants. I regret taking the Giants. I think the Giants are. I didn't think they were good. In fact, like in hindsight, I regret betting on them in that game against Washington. Washington seems to like pick up right where they left off last year, and they looked really strong. And my first reaction, like looking at this line, is that it's too many. I think, but I will not bet against the Packers in Green Bay. I just simply won't do that. And I honestly think a lot of that hangs on the officiating. I just think they get very important calls at very important times. And, unless it's a playoff game, I don't really want any part of this. And I actually think it's a good number.
Couple stats interesting, and I think that support what you're saying is Green Bay straight up is 6-0 at home versus Washington the last 6 times they've played. Washington has not been a very good team on Thursday night football on the road. They're like 3-12 in their last 15 road games on Thursday night. But that said, they do have a pretty good record against the spread against Green Bay. So if you can get the hook and you think Washington can hang around, I mean, my play on this, Green Bay the over has come in. They're 14-4 over the number against the NFC East in the last 18 games. So I could see this game. Like, listen, it's going to be hard to bet against Green Bay, but if you're going to bet them, I would say straight up in a parlay with the over, if that's really an aggressive bet you want to make. But maybe that 3.5 is enough for Washington. It's a really tough call. Washington's played well. The rookie running back that they got, which made Brian Robinson expendable, had a really nice first week. So they're a dangerous team. Ertz is still doing it at tight end. McLaurin was, he missed him a couple times. He had him and he missed him. He overthrew him. But I'm certainly that chemistry will get back to them. But I expect a high scoring game. Both of these teams can score.
Yeah.
Despite Green Bay's defense, Jaden Daniels is a handful to deal with. I mean, the Giants have a very, very good defense on paper, and they struggled for 3 quarters. They had only let up 14 points. I mean, it wasn't awful. But if you look at the final score, I mean, Washington got.
I disagree with
the Giants. Is Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson is just not good. He wasn't good at the end of the year last year for us. He should retire. He is not an NFL quarterback anymore. In his mind, he thinks he is, but he's not. And I think the sooner the Giants get to Dart, the better they're going to be. I mean, the Giants, even Neighbors was upset about it. Like, the ball's not coming out on time. I don't know what it is about Russ, but he's got to face the music that, he's a backup in this league. He is not a starting quarterback anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you said there, except I don't think the Giants have a good defense. I don't think their defense is in the top half of the league. I think they have a very good pass rush, but I think their secondary and their linebackers are not good. They're not gonna, and the
problem is they're on the field a lot, so it's hard, it's really tough in the second half when you're on the field so much and your offense can't move the chains and you're not getting first downs, and it's just hard for them. Eventually you get tired. I mean, you get fatigued,
Okay, so you don't have an opinion on that game?
If I had to play it, I would play a Green Bay money line and over parlay or teaser with Green Bay. I don't think they'll lose the game at home.
Yeah, I like that actually. Green Bay teaser.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to the first game on Sunday at 1:00, which is the Cleveland Browns visiting the Baltimore Ravens. Classic AFC North battle. I was shocked to see this line come out as high as it was. I think it was 12.5. It's 13, now 13.5. I thought, so I watched the Cleveland Cincy game yesterday, and I gotta say, like, Cleveland played really well.
Yeah.
We had one major problem, and one problem which was, important, but not as important as Andre Szymit.
Your kicker.
Our kicker.
Ex-Syracuse Orangeman. He was horrible at Syracuse. I can't believe he's in the NFL.
Syracuse University, Lou Graza Award, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, is the #1 kicker, is given to the best kicker in all of college football.
Yes.
He missed an extra point.
Yep.
And then, so we were, instead of tied at the end of the game, 17-17, driving, and we had an amazing drive at the end of the game. Ended up, we didn't get the first down. We had a 36-yard field goal.
Yeah, he missed it. Terrible.
I know. So
you guys have had bad lucks with kickers. You just have not had great kickers in Cleveland.
Well, it's off and on. Like we've had some good streaks. Like the year Baker was there, we had a very good year. But this was awful. But I got to say, the defense played amazing. We basically, I wouldn't say shut down, but both Newsome and Ward had amazing games with Chase, and I had Higgins on my fantasy team. He had like 6 points.
Yeah, he did nothing.
There was a very important drive late in the game where Myles Garrett had 2 sacks, and we took Cincinnati from like the 30-yard line back to the 2.
Yeah.
We did everything. The second problem, there were some key drops by the Browns receivers.
Judy
dropped one, and not Hickman. Tillman dropped
Tillman.
one also.
Yeah, but Tillman had a good game and he had the touchdown. So you can't
Yeah.
really, he wasn't bad overall. But the one thing, and I agree with you, I think Cleveland, the Battle of Ohio was exactly that. It was a battle. The Joe Burrow is notoriously a very slow starter. His record in the first 2 weeks of the league is not good. He has a losing record. So the fact that he luckily got a win there, it doesn't instill much confidence in Cincinnati coming into this week. The question is, with an angry Ravens team going to Baltimore in a place where historically, I mean, Baltimore pretty much owns Cleveland. I mean, 14-3 straight up in their last 17 at home. Cleveland is 1-10 and they're straight up in their last 11 on the road in Baltimore. So I don't know what gives you the confidence that Flacco is going to go in there and kind of the defense is going to be able to repeat that performance against, I would think would be a very angry Baltimore team. So, and I know it's coming off a Sunday night game, and generally that's a disadvantage in a Monday night game as well. But I don't know. I know it's a lot of points, but I can't imagine Cleveland being in this game. I think if Baltimore plays offense the way they played against Buffalo, their defense is going to be better. Cleveland is not going to be able to move the ball like Josh Allen, and this is a bad spot for the Browns. I don't like them at all here. I would lay the wood with Baltimore.
Yeah. I mean, I disagree. I think neither team wants to be 0-2. We're pissed that we lost that game. We should have won it. We did everything. That's such a typical Cleveland win, that the way that we played that game, we kept it under.
Low scoring. Yeah.
Low scoring, kick a field goal to win it. That's how we win games.
Yeah.
We ran the ball really well. The offensive line looked great. They protected Joe. Joe made, for the most part, great throws. Like even the 2 interceptions that
he looked
had,
good. Flacco looked fine. I just
he
think
looked
I
great.
can't
Like
imagine
I watched a lot of games already, and the
Yeah.
quarterback play that I saw across the league was not good. His interceptions were dropped by the receivers and then bobbled. You know what I mean? Like they were not.
Yeah, one was
bad
like off
throws.
Judy's chest and it bounced up into the guy who was on the ground. Yeah, I saw what happened there. And your running back had a very nice game. The kid, he played well.
Was it Strong or
no? The other kid, not the kid who got arrested, Junkins.
No, he's not playing yet.
The other kid who was drafted late in a lot of drafts had a really nice game. I think he got in the end zone and he had a nice amount of points. I just don't think
Samson.
Yeah, I just can't imagine that that Baltimore's not going to turn up the heat on defense and really pressure Flacco, who's literally a statue. He cannot move. And I would think that Baltimore's defense is going to be much stiffer this week. And I just think Lamar's going to be too much for Cleveland in a 4-quarter game in their own building.
Yeah.
I just think it's, Baltimore should win this game. I'm going to say like 34-13 or 34-17, even maybe if you get that many touchdowns. I'm not sure, but I would lay the points. I know it's going to be a survivor gangbang and it's a division game, but I don't know.
Let me remind you of something, and it's funny that I just thought of this while you're talking about them with such confidence.
Yeah.
And that is last year in the opener was the game where Isaiah Likely, like his toes were just out and they lost
just
that game
out.
to the
What
Chiefs,
a game
like
that
a
was.
heartbreaker.
Yeah, in
They
Kansas
came
City.
back. I mean, that the teams have a way, and I've heard a lot of coaches, especially Lou Holtz, talk about how and what's his name from Alabama,
Saban
talk about how when teams lose, they generally don't respond. They respond negatively. Like it's not like, oh, we're going to bounce back. My point is, last year after that happened, they came back and they played the Raiders, and I'm pretty sure they were a double-digit favorite, and the entire country was on them in Survivor, and they lost the game.
Yeah.
So, and that wasn't even a division rival. Like
I
could see it. I could see it.
The fact that this is a division rivalry makes me think that they will be focused. I can understand losing your concentration against a perceived weaker opponent from your division and kind of looking past them and getting tripped up. I mean, that happens in the NFL a lot, where you get these games that you're just kind of overlooking. I mean, God knows the Steelers do it every year against some NFC doormat who comes in and beats us. Last year it was Arizona, or whatever it was. But I'm going to stick with my guns. I think Baltimore is going to cover that game.
Okay, let's move on. Cincinnati, Jacksonville. This has been like a one-way train of money on the Jags Came out at 5.5, went to 4. Now it's 3.5. I guess people were not impressed with the fact that Cincinnati won that game. It's like kind of like disrespectful to Cleveland and also disrespectful to Cincinnati that maybe they thought they should have won by more, or
Mm-hmm.
they think Jacksonville is, a legitimate contender. But I love Cincy in this game. I don't know what you feel, but I
What's the
think they're
line
going to
now?
be,
3.5.
yeah,
Yeah, the data supports that. I mean, Jacksonville, hasn't been great against Cincinnati. Cincinnati has a nice record at home against the Jags in their last 9. They're 7-2. You got to imagine Burrow and Chase will be better. I don't see Jacksonville's defense, especially in the secondary, really being a challenge. I don't love Cincinnati's defense. I think it's the weakness of their team. I think it was really the reason last year that they struggled so much was that they let so
yep,
many of these other teams in the game despite Joe Burrow's brilliance. So I don't know what they did to fix that. I mean, they had Hendrickson last year. I know they signed him late and he's back, but it's really their secondary that scares me. But Trevor Lawrence, listen, until he shows me, like, I mean, there's so much hype around this guy being the number one
yep.
pick, and he has been a disappointment. I'm sorry, I don't think, and maybe this coach will turn him around, but and they have Brian Thomas Jr. I think is a freak athlete, and I know they love the tight end that they got Strange. But the point is, I do think Cincinnati be too much here. If I had, listen, I could go with you on that. I think Cincinnati should cover this game. Three and a
Yeah,
half is not a lot of points, and I think Burrow will be better this week.
me too. And I'm totally with you on that take with Trevor. It's like if you look at his stats since he's been in the league,
Underwhelming.
they're below people who are considered horrible.
Yeah.
Like I actually think, and I'm talking about like Daniel Jones, I think may have better numbers than Trevor since he came into the league. And like
Amazing.
that guy is a pariah. But
Hmm.
for some reason, this guy Trevor Lawrence is like, the golden boy. And
Yeah.
he just needs more time. But you know what? He's had enough time.
He's had
Um,
time. Listen, he's had flashes of brilliance. He has just not been consistently good week to week. And in the NFL, you really, as at quarterback, I think you need a couple things. You have to play every week, which is why I thought Eli was so great. The guy never missed a game. And he played on good teams and bad teams. And when it mattered in the playoff runs, he was the MVP. But you also have to be consistent in, week to week performance. Like your bad games cannot be 3 interceptions, a fumble, and you cost your team the game if you
yeah,
want to be a good NFL quarterback. Your bad games have to be at least your team still has a chance to win despite your bad game. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And then your
100%.
good games have to win games for your team. And that's what good quarterbacks do.
Yeah. So speaking of that, let's move on to the next game, which I'm hoping to keep this quick. New England, Miami, and I
I mean, I have
watched the
an
game.
I have an
I watched
opinion
the
on
game
this.
this morning,
Oh,
the Colt game. Tua was so bad. He played absolutely awful. He was throwing interceptions. He was throwing bad. He was making really bad throws. You know what I mean?
okay.
They weren't like they were not near the receiver. They were not like tipped. These were just flat out bad throws.
Yeah, Miami had a
And
bad game.
yeah. But my point on them is I don't think they bounce back uh this year from stuff like that. I think when you're in the league 4 or 5 years, you shouldn't be making those throws anymore. I'm sorry. I'm the time to like say, "Oh, he just had a bad game," is over. I just don't think he's good. And this is an ugly game that I won't touch anyway because I think, I mean, I like Drake May, but I think the New England defense is terrible. And I'm not going near this with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, I listen. Miami inspired zero confidence in their team, and it's okay for people to think they're the worst team in football. It's overreaction week. Week one. Oh, they're the worst team in the league. Miami absolutely owns New England at home. They're 11-1 in their last 12 games straight up against New England. It's early in the year. It's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy. This is not New England weather. Everyone thought New England was going to be better this year with Vrabel. This is going to take some time. Miami, I don't think is as bad as they played last week. I think they're going to go home. They're going to get right. They're going to beat New England the way they always do. And you're going to look up and they're going to be 1-1 in the division. New England's going to be 0-2, which isn't going to surprise anybody. Right. And the Jets, we'll talk about it. I mean, they play Buffalo fairly well, close, but they generally don't win against the Bills. And so I think that division is going to look kind of exactly like you thought it would look before the season started when this game is done. Tua is not as bad as that. McDaniel is not as bad a coach as he showed. I know everyone's saying Miami's soft on defense, that they played a soft game, that they played an uninspired game, and all of that is true. And I know Tyreek Hill now is being rumored as being traded and blah, blah, blah. But I would be surprised if New England went down there and won this game. They don't play well in Miami. They never have, even with Brady. And I don't see it. I'll take Miami. The line is skinny, right? 1?
Yeah, 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing. Miami should win this game.
Okay. 49ers are going down to New Orleans to play the Saints, and they're laying
Banged
7.5 on the road.
Really banged up. Kittle's on the IR. Purdy's hurt.
Yep.
McCaffrey obviously has the injury. The one thing here is, San Fran, when you think about this, this is going to be their second straight week on the road. They haven't been great against the spread versus the NFC. They're 4-12 in their last 16 against the spread. So they're laying a number, right? 5.5?
7.5.
7.5 is too many. Too many points. The Saints have been awful. They're not good. They're 2-7 at home in their last whatever game. I like the under in here, but if I had to take this, I'm taking the 7.5. I mean, San Fran, I think they got a lot going on with injuries. I think they're banged up. Second week in a row on the road. They got to go across the country. And I don't think the Saints are necessarily as bad as people think they are. 7.5 is kind of embarrassing for your home opener, in my opinion. So I would take the Saints, and I think it's a low-scoring game.
Okay. I won't go near it. I can't take the Saints with Rattler. I was tempted to do it last week against Arizona, but Arizona ended up getting there.
They fought pretty hard against Arizona. Kamara looked pretty good. Olave had his catches. I mean, Rattler is he's an unproven quarterback. What can I tell you? But San Fran, I don't think really impressed you either at Seattle. So
they didn't, and I think it's we'll keep our eye on the injuries. And I know Kittle's going to he's listed as questionable. And is Purdy really
he's out? On the IR? They put him on the IR today. He's out for at least 4 games.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay.
He's got a hamstring, and it's a bad one. It's probably a grade 2. That's a 4-week injury. So yeah, he's not playing. And it's they got Ayuk is already out. I mean, I don't know. San Fran, that's a big number to lay. I don't care who you're playing. It's the NFL. I think it's a hard number to lay over a touchdown on the road when you're missing 2 of your biggest stars.
Yeah. Okay. Let's watch those injuries. I broke my cardinal rule last week on week 1.
You bet on a bad team?
Yeah, the Giants.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't want to do that. And the Saints are a bad team, and I don't want to take them.
I get it. But if you're in a pick pool, I would take the points.
Pittsburgh, Seattle, you guys hosting Seahawks. I thought, Seattle played a very good game for 3.5 quarters. And I did watch this one back, and Darnold sort of reminded everybody why he was traded. He had a really bad play, and I think it was an interception or a fumble, but disappointing. And I thought San Francisco got lucky, more than anything else on that last drive. But I like Pittsburgh in this game. I don't think, I just again, in a close game, Pittsburgh at home, I can't imagine that you get out coached in this game or that you get out hustled. Steelers home opener. I wouldn't bet against that. I like Pittsburgh. They burned us last week on that half point, and they may end up doing it again, but I would go back to the well with them.
Seattle is a weird team for us. We seem to, I think, always play like these kind of close games against them. I know what's the line is only 2.5 though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, home opener, it's interesting in Rodgers' career. I can remember just in my mind thinking about with him with Green Bay, how many amazing games he played against Seattle and how many of those games were 1-point games and the Hail Mary game and the other game. that Russell Wilson won. And I mean, it was unbelievable kind of the games that he's played against Seattle in his career. But I think coming home, our defense has to be better. It was not good against the Jets. Let's face it. We lost every battle in the trenches, both sides of the ball. If it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers' 4 touchdowns and the Jets fumbling with the special teams strip and the subsequent score and a 60-yard field goal, we're losing to the Jets. So, I mean, let's just be a little bit careful about making Pittsburgh thinking that, we're already functioning, in mid-season form here, because we are far from it. So the defense,
you probably like Seattle in a tease here. It's a long tease.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I would absolutely put Seattle in a tease. It's one of my favorite plays of the week in a Wong teaser. You have to take it to 8.5. But I do think I would be surprised early in the year with a home opener. I'm not super scared of Darnold. I mean, the guy who scares me is that Jackson Smith and Jigba is very, very difficult guy to cover. And it's going to be interesting, Metcalf going against his team, though. So I guess he'd be motivated there as well. I guess if you have to take it, I would take Pittsburgh minus the 2.5 and hope we win by 3. But this is going to be a 1-score game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is not like a 27-10 final. I don't think. I don't believe that to be the case.
I agree. Okay, we'll put it on the list. Next one is Giants Dallas. Dallas opened up as a 4-point favorite, has since gone to 6. Total is 44.5. It hasn't moved. I really liked Dallas in the opener. As you know, we were together and I bet them. I thought they had played with a big chip on their shoulder after losing Micah.
They played hard.
I also think
Philly's just better.
I think it's sort of not that often talked about, although it's not known, that Eberflus as the defensive coordinator, I think, is a major upgrade. Like, despite the personnel, I think he's a great defensive mind. I didn't think he was a great coach in Chicago, but I think their defense looked really good in that game. And I'm kind of
just surprising, right? Because Dallas' defense has been a sieve. Their secondary is normally not very good. So maybe they turn the corner, especially against Philly. I mean, they handled AJ Brown and Devonta Smith really well. I mean, those guys were not factors in that game. So and it was a weird game with the delay, right? Was that the lightning strike game or something where
was that game or was that the Chiefs game?
They had like an hour delay.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, there was no scoring anymore. Like the scoring just stopped. Like whoever had the over in that game must have wanted to kill themselves. I'll tell you, Dallas is historically, they own the Giants. I mean, every Giant fan will tell you Dallas is 15-1 straight up in their last 16 against the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just dominance, right?
And I don't you see that happening? I think like there needs to be a catalyst for Jackson Dart to come in, and maybe this is it. Maybe this is just the end for Russell, and he just gets blown out in this game, and everyone's like, all right, the season's over. Let's bring the kid in.
Listen, he impressed.
After watching them last week, I would never take them in this game.
Yeah, I like Dallas in the over. I think Dallas is going to put up a ton of points.
Yep.
And I don't know how the Giants can keep up. I know Neighbors is great, but if you don't have a guy who can get him the ball, what's the difference?
Right. Okay. Let's move on. Looks like we both like Dallas there. I'll come back to that. Rams, Titans.
Rams tricky for me. Really, really tricky for me on this game, Jack. There's so many things that support the Rams here. However, for some reason, the Rams against the spread are 0-6-1 against Tennessee in their last 7 games that they played Tennessee. It's one of those teams like it's, how you have sometimes you see a lot of this in sports where just certain teams, for whatever reason, you just don't do well against them, and I'm not saying the Rams will lose this game because listen, Tennessee has not been good. I mean, they're 2-15 against the spread in their last 17 games. It's not like they're any good, but if I had to bet it, I would take the points. I think it's a lot of points. Tennessee's at home. And that's just a trend thing. I think the whole country is going to be on the Rams because let's face it, Stafford looked good, right? The Rams have Nakua. They have the running game. Their defense is elite. They got those 3 kids on the defensive line that are dominating people. And Tennessee is like, got a rookie quarterback. But something's fishy about this game. Something is very fishy about this game.
Yeah.
And I would be really nervous to lay those points with the Rams or even put them in a teaser because God forbid they get upset. It's, and I'm not saying they will. Listen, the Rams are very, very good, especially against the AFC South. They're 10-1 in their last 11 straight up against that division. They just
Yeah.
don't cover against Tennessee. So this game's a
Yeah.
skip for me. Skip.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I would never take the Titans. I won't bet on them the entire year,
No.
and I'm only at risk of losing in the games that I bet on against them or in Survivor against them. But I plan on picking on them like I did with Denver. I mean, I went all in on 5 different Survivor accounts. That's how bad I think they are. They're a
I
bottom
know, but
5 team.
we did take Tennessee. It was our only winner last week.
Yeah, against the spread. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. But
I'm
that was
talking about
just
against the spread because that's all that matters here. Unless you're gonna say, okay, well, the Rams, listen, to me, I think this game's gonna be a high scoring game. Tennessee's gonna be chasing points. And if Ward can get a few balls to Ridley deep, maybe they could hang around a little bit. I don't know. And obviously the Rams traveling all the way across the country and playing in a non-division type of game, not even an NFC game. Maybe they don't, score as many points as you think they could with that offense. I don't know about Nakua. Didn't he have a concussion? Did he come back? He was
I don't
bleeding.
know.
He was bleeding in the face in his eye or something. But
Okay.
yeah, this game's a skip for me. I mean, I
Yeah.
just that one data point scares me a little bit. Like, why do they
Okay.
never cover against Tennessee? It's weird.
Let's move on. We got Denver at Indy, which is actually a pretty good game by
I
2
love
teams
Denver
that
in
could
this
be
game. I
considered
love Denver in this game.
road favorite, huh?
I have no data to support it. It is a gut play. I think Bo Nix is going to play much better. I know Daniel Jones looked great against a listless, unprepared Miami team in the week 1 for whatever reason. But I think he's going to come crashing back down to earth. Denver is a real defense. This Denver is a top 5 defense in the NFL, and Bo Nix cannot play worse than he played. I like Denver. What's the line?
They're laying 2.5.
Yep, I would lay it. I like him a lot in this
Yeah,
spot.
my only question, and I just actually earlier today watched the Indy Miami game, and look, he didn't do that alone, Cello. The
Daniel?
defense, I'm just saying, the defense played very well. Jonathan
Mhm.
Taylor played really well.
Yeah, he's good. Taylor's good.
Tyler Warren is like immediately impact player, and he was like a central part of the offense and getting the ball off and getting first downs and
Totally.
scoring, and like he was very good. And also the other wide receiver,
Pittman?
Pittman, played great.
Yeah.
So it's like he had his weapons going, and like they were running the ball, and he didn't have to be spectacular. And at the same time, he was making good throws. He threw a couple of duds for sure, like stuff that would have reminded you of the plays that he made with the
Yeah.
Giants. And Miami's defense was terrible. And to your point, maybe like hit them facing a real defense like Denver, like he'll show his true colors.
Yeah.
But I'm
I
not
think
I'm not exactly rushing to bet Denver after the way they played either, you know.
they didn't play great. I absolutely agree with you. I was not impressed. Bo Nix had a horrible game. And I am not going to be in the camp after 1 week saying that, oh, he's going to have a sophomore slump. He's going to regress. I'm not doing it. I
Yeah.
saw Bo Nix play all last year. Sean Payton is a great offensive mind, and they have a top defense, especially, I don't know about a top NFL defense, maybe top 5. I would think you got to put them in there, at least top 10.
Yeah, top 10.
But and the Colts to me are 1 week up, 1 week down team, same as last year. And I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to be the guy yet that makes them, he's certainly not Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning. Like, he's not a guy that's going to go in there and they're not going to go 13-4 or 12-5 his first year. I would be very, very shocked if they did, even in a bad division. I still think Houston's better than them in that division. And they'll probably end up splitting games with Jacksonville because they always struggle against Jacksonville. So I like Denver here. I think it's an underlay. I think clearly they're a better team and you're laying less than a field goal. I love them in this game.
Okay. I'm gonna probably stay away. I haven't. To me, Denver didn't play well, and I'm not exactly ready to give the Colts like a major upgrade just because they beat a horrible Miami team. But this is for both teams. Wait and see. You know, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not rushing to the window on this one.
Okay.
Next game is possible survivor pick. Arizona's hosting Carolina. They're laying 7. First home opener. They got a nice win on the road last week. They won by 7, I think, or 6. Maybe it was a win, no cover, but they were laying a lot on the road, and I thought Arizona looked pretty good. And Carolina, I didn't watch the Carolina Jacksonville game yet, but I saw the stat line, and it's like I don't know what positive things came out of that game for them, but they're not good. They're a bottom 5 team.
Chuba Hubbard had a touchdown, and he does what he does. He's good on the ground. I think the kid McMillan managed a few catches. He had a decent outing, got over 10 fantasy points. But other than that, obviously Bryce Young is not taking the step that they want him to take as of yet. He has not taken that step, and I thought this year potentially would be the year that he could do it. I know there are a lot of people hoping that he will do it. You know, they traded Thielen, which I thought was a move for them, their offense, that hurts them because he's a veteran. He knows where to be at the right time, and he knows what he's doing, and he knows the plays, and he's clutch. But so I think that hurt them a little bit, and it's going to be a rough go for Carolina, I think. And Arizona, to me, Kyler doesn't instill all the confidence that he does in a lot of other people. I just see him as an up and down guy, but
yeah,
it's
me too.
Hard to lay 7
like,
here. I don't know. I mean,
you got to pick your spots.
Carolina. You cannot bet Carolina. So
no,
if you like this game and you want to take Arizona, put them in a teaser, lay your 1 point. Worst case, you push if they win by 1. I don't see them losing a home opener to Carolina. I'd be shocked, because they do have a good offense. Harrison had a good game, and Connor scores every week, and they have a great tight end, the McBride. The question is their defense. I don't think Carolina's offense is really going to challenge them much, where their defense would be exposed anyway. So, yeah,
I think we agree. We both like Arizona here. I mean, I think every week Carolina is one of those teams that's going to get picked on a lot in both Survivor and ATS bets. So
so should they show me and shows probably the Titans as well, and probably the Saints.
They were competitive in the last handful of games last year.
They were
Carolina, and I
agree.
I thought in week 1, like part of me thought that they were a good bet, and they were a short number against the Jags. But the fact that they could only put up 10 points against a bad Jacksonville
very
defense.
Disappointing. Very disappointing.
It's like they didn't pick up where they left off. All right. Next game is Chiefs Eagles. Is that Sunday night? It is.
Yeah.
No, 4:25 p.m. Okay.
4:25. Okay.
But what's interesting about this game is that the Chiefs were a 1.5-point favorite until Monday, in which the game crossed over. And now Philly's laying 1. Is that justified? I mean, that's how bad the Chiefs played in Brazil.
I don't know about that. I have a similar feeling as I had to Detroit. I think that Super Bowl loss is a heartbreaker. I think that is a franchise potential turnaround wrecker.
Yeah.
I talk about not getting up off the mat. I mean, and then having to face them again in week 2, and Philly's wasn't coming off a great game. I mean, those guys, AJ Brown and Smith, basically did nothing in that game, and they still won. So I like Philly here. I don't know. To me, maybe this and they're missing their best wide receiver, right? Rashee Rice is out.
Yeah.
This is a tough spot, and coming back from Brazil. I mean, I think I remember reading something. I think it's accurate that both teams that have played in Brazil the following week lose when they come home.
Is that right?
Because of the magnitude of the trip and all the travel. So I'm going to take Philly. I think Philly's better than them until they prove that they're not. And that's just how I feel about it. I think Philly's still the best team in football right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And I think, I watched it back, the Charger Chief game, and I was so impressed. I thought and I haven't watched all the games, but to me, from everything that I saw, Herbert had the best QB play that I saw in week 1. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's great.
Both throwing and running, decision making, everything. And their defense played amazing. And the Chiefs were sloppy. I mean, Mahomes had some bad throws. He had a bad interception. He was throwing some shit off balance. they had some good defensive plays, like they hung in there, and but I didn't think they looked great, and like a Super Bowl rematch. I don't know that they're necessarily ready to like be a different team or win that game against the Eagles in week 2. I like Philly also.
Yeah, me too. The KC thing to me is the degree to which they got smashed in the Super Bowl is something that,
Yeah.
it's like a bully for years beating people up, and one day just getting his ass kicked. And then when he wakes up the next day, is he still the same bully that he was before he got his ass kicked? And the answer is no, because your confidence is so shaken by the fact that you never thought you could get killed the way they got killed. And I don't see a team, no matter who's coaching it. Andy Reid's a great coach, but the psyche of the team is literally changed, altered, ruined. So I just don't see them coming back so quickly from that. And now they got to play Philly again. Now, if they go out there and they beat Philadelphia and they they prove me wrong, fine, but I'm not betting them. I would take Philly.
I will say this. I may change my mind about that one because everything we just said is true. But I don't remember the last time that I saw the Chiefs as a home underdog in the NFL. It had to have been 5 years ago. So I don't want to
during
discount
Mahomes'
that
era.
Yeah, I don't want to discount that. Like that's meaningful.
Okay.
All right. Last game on Sunday is Vikings Falcons.
What about Jets Bills? Is that 1 o'clock? I think you skipped that.
Is that Monday?
No, that's Sunday, 1 o'clock. I think you missed it.
Oh, okay. I don't have the line yet.
Jets Bills was 7. I believe it's 7 or 6.5 or 7.
Okay.
And obviously, the Bills have been very good against the Jets, although against the spread, they haven't been that good, especially in Giant Stadium. I expect the Jets to show up and play tough. Whether or not they win the game, I don't know. But if you're giving me 6.5 or 7 points, I like them to cover.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Good luck. I won't be joining you on that. And I don't necessarily disagree. And I know they play them tough. But there it is, the bad team again. And I'm not going against Josh Allen. I could maybe be talked into it, and some bottom half of the league team as a home dog, but not against Buffalo.
It's a division game.
Yeah.
The Jet, he's historically on the road in this spot struggled sometimes against the Jets.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason. And the Jets have not been able offensively to put them away, but their defense shows up. I like what I saw in the Jets in week 1. I think they're a completely different franchise under Aaron Glenn. They were prepared. They played hard. They played like they cared. Their skill possession players were very good. Garrett Wilson had a great game. I mean, obviously Ramsey hit him on the last play, but I mean, that was just a great defensive play.
Yeah.
And Breece Hall, to me, looked like, a top 10 running back again out of nowhere. They had this rookie tight end that they love from LSU. And their defense, I mean, they got the Williams brothers and and
I wouldn't be surprised.
They got the kid back from Florida State who rushes the passer, who was dominating Broderick Jones. I mean, he ran around him 3 times and sacked Aaron Rodgers 3 times, I think. So the Jets are going to be not overwhelmed and not scared of Josh Allen. I'll tell you that. That's not how they play against them. They're in these games at Giant Stadium, and you're giving them a touchdown. To me, it's not like they're a bad team like the old Jets. Until they prove that they are, they're not, to me.
I agree with what you said about Glenn. I think they have a different attitude, and is it sustainable is the question. The losing week after week after week tends to chip away. It's even the best intentions when it comes to that attitude. You know what I mean? But
talk about not wanting to be 0-2.
Yeah. Well, who wants to be 0-2?
But you got another game at home. You got to win some of these home games. You can't be losing all these games at home, no matter who you're playing. So
2 weeks ago, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be saying things like, you can't be 0-4. They're not going to go 0-4. This is to avoid going 0-4. I mean, it's just like, it's only week 2.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I just think the Jets showed me enough in week 1 against Pittsburgh where they just look like a different team to me than the Jets of old. They just look much more prepared to play. Fields, I thought, was really in control of the offense. He ran when he was supposed to run for the most part. I know people at the end were complaining that maybe he could have run that ball. There were 3 Steelers standing at the first down. I mean, could he have put his head down and run through it and then had to get up and spike the ball? I guess he probably could have. But Wilson was wide open. He threw it to him, and he got killed. What can I tell you?
Okay, let's move on. Final game on Sunday is Vikings-Falcons. Atlanta is, it's funny, they were a 5-point dog, and then as soon as they played their game on Sunday night last night and won, that line dropped to 3.5 Atlanta. Maybe something that has to do with the Atlanta played Tampa very well. I watched that game earlier today. I thought they're very good. Like on both sides of the ball. I mean, there was some sloppiness, but I think Penix is capable. And he converted some big plays with his arm and his legs. I thought they could have easily won that game. If it wasn't for, Baker played great. He threw 2 touchdowns to Ibuka. I wasn't that surprised that Tampa won the game, but Atlanta, can they be competitive in a game like this? I don't know.
Well, Atlanta's kicker blew the game.
Yeah.
You can't miss that field goal at home, indoors in a dome, a 42-yard field goal or whatever it is to tie the game. I know Baker was great late, and Penix did what he did to get the touchdown, and Bijan was the best player on the field, which is what he should be pretty much every week when he plays. And Minnesota is coming off an emotional win on the road on a Monday night. I like the Falcons. I think it's too many points. Everyone's putting McCarthy in the Hall of Fame already after one win. I know the kid's good and he hasn't lost a regular season game and whatever, going back to his Michigan days and all this stuff, but they're still missing Addison. That hurts them. Drake London has been good. Atlanta to me is a team that if they lose, I don't think they'll lose by more than 3 in this game. They really, and they'll have a shot to win it. Whether they do or not, I don't know, but I like Atlanta with the points here. McCarthy's still a young quarterback. He's still learning, and Atlanta's a dome team. They're going to play an indoor game here. They were right in that game against Tampa. They could easily won it. So I don't expect that they will be non-competitive here. I think they'll be right in this game.
Okay. I don't really.
If you could give me 5, I'd rather take 5 than 3.5. So if you can shop a line and get 4 or 4.5, I think it's a better deal than 3.5. But still, over a field goal in the NFL, if you think a team's going to be in it, is plenty of points.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know where I don't really have a strong opinion either way here. I was impressed with both of these teams in week 1. I think that's where I'm coming out on this, and I'm not exactly sure which way I think, whether they're both going to continue that or if Minnesota's going to find themselves behind again. But I'm going to probably stay away from this one. I don't feel strongly about it.
Initially you liked Atlanta, so put it on the list. I like Atlanta.
Okay. Yep. We got 2 Monday night games.
Wow. Why? Again? The 2 Monday nights?
I have no idea. It's also really weird. The second game, it's almost like they listened to, the feedback of the fans, and the second game starts at 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So remember last year game started at 7 and won at 8:25, and I was like
a little too close.
I even said, why don't you at least give the West Coast a game? And that looks like that's what they did, by starting at 10 o'clock.
I thought maybe I kind of liked timing it so that when the first game goes to the half, the second game kicks off. So is that kind of like what they did last year? 7 and 8:30ish. Is that kind of what they did?
The one's at 7 and one's at 10. So this is this
going to be a late night for the East Coast gamblers who are looking to make everything back in that late game. But what's the first one?
Just what I need is a text from Mason telling me to update the fucking site so he can fucking unload.
No, he'll be asleep. Game. He'll be asleep before the end of the first game. Who you kidding?
Anyway, first game is Tampa at Houston. Good game.
Line?
Houston is laying 2.5.
Love
Um,
Houston. Love Houston in this game.
oh god, they're so frustrating to
Really,
watch though, having them in that Rams game and just that
I really
offense.
like them I like them in a bounce back spot for a home opener. I think their defense is elite. And I think Tampa, second week in a row on the road, is going to be a difficult spot for them. I love Baker. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great, fun quarterback to root for. I bet on him a lot, but this is going to be a challenge for them. I think Houston's defense is legit. I think Stingley Jr. can cover. Their best receiver, and I'm not even sure if that's Mike Evans anymore at age 36 or however old he is. It might be Ibuka, but they are. Godwin was a little nicked up. And I think Houston has to be better offensively. Obviously, Stroud I know struggled, but they were marching. They were marching down 4. They're inside the 20, and the kid got the ball punched out, and the Rams fell in it. So to me, they almost beat the Rams in the Rams building. I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to win the game. And what are they? Are they laying or they're getting
They're laying
less than 3?
2.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Houston. Yep.
Hmm. Yeah,
Now
I
you
I
can
don't
put
like.
Tampa in a. I do like Tampa with Seattle in a Wong teaser. I will say that.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I'm not big on Houston again. Like I feel like nothing changed with their offense. Like it just everything feels like such a struggle with them on offense. It's like never clicking. I feel like Stroud is late in his decision making. Um, and again, it just feels like so much work on offense for that. I totally agree with you what you're saying about their defense. They're incredible. I mean, I have them
Mm-hmm.
in fantasy, but it's just like they're going to keep them in every game. But it just feels like when they need it most on those game-winning drives, it just becomes such a struggle, and a lot of times they don't get it done, and especially against better teams. So
Yeah.
I'm not rushing to take them in this game. But we'll see. If
I,
anything, I actually kind of like Tampa, but I hear what you're saying about the back-to-back
I would
road
expect a
games.
very big bounce back performance from Nico Collins, who was a 0 no show at the Rams. He will have, in my opinion, 6 to 10 catches, over 100 yards, and 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game.
Hmm.
If he doesn't,
Tampa's defense is not bad. They're
I'm not
good.
saying they are. I'm just saying that Nico Collins is an elite wide receiver, and for some
Yes.
reason, he was not able to do it against the Rams. I don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row. You just don't shut down guys like that 2 weeks in a row. It's a home opener. I like the Texans coach a lot. I think they're going to be ready to play, and I think they'll find a way to beat Tampa, who is, to me, not an elite Super Bowl caliber team. I mean, they're maybe a top 5 NFC team, but when I say Super Bowl from the NFC, I do not think of Tampa Bay. I'm sorry. No.
Agreed. Oh, last game of the week, Chargers, Raiders. Raiders getting 3.5 at home. Chargers coming off huge win. They
Mm.
looked amazing. They looked like a playoff team that they weren't last year. Herbert was the best performance that I saw of all the games, maybe with the exception of Lamar and Josh. But
Mm.
he's trying to break through into that upper echelon of the AFC quarterbacks, which isn't easy. But man, did he look good! They
Yeah.
all look good. The whole team.
Got himself a new girlfriend. Maybe that's got something to do with
And
it.
The Raiders are terrible. I kind of feel like they should be getting more than 3.5 here. But
I
what
don't
do
know.
you
It's
think of
Pete
this game?
Carroll. Pete Carroll's been around the block. He gets his players to play. I think the kid Gentry is from what Reed tells me, and I trust his opinion, is a can't miss running back in the NFL. They have the best tight end, I think, in football in Bowers. And listen, Geno Smith is a guy that can win games. I mean, it's their home opener. I think the travel thing could be big for San Diego, and also mentally finally beating Kansas City. I think they're probably feeling themselves a little bit, this week. And I think maybe they come in. I'm thinking they may come in a little overconfident here. I'm not
Mm,
saying they'll lose, but 3.5 on a Monday night, I'm taking the home dog all day
wow.
long.
Wow. Okay. I am not going to bet on the Raiders. But I hear what you're saying. It wouldn't shock me if this suddenly was a close game.
It wouldn't
Almost
shock me
feels.
at all. These teams play close games all the time, and this is not Antonio Pierce. This is Pete Carroll, and he's got a quarterback that he knows very well in Geno Smith. They have weapons at receiver that are probably underrated. in Thornton and Jacoby Myers, and they have a tremendous tight end. And I believe they still have Mason Crosby on the defensive line. So, listen, the Chargers to beat Kansas City is a big thing for them. I mean, and Harbaugh is a great coach, and I get it. Um, this could be a letdown spot, is all I'm saying. That's it. And I don't want to lay 3.5 to a Monday night team home opener. I just think that's too many points to lay on the road in a division game.
Yeah.
On a primetime
almost
game.
Feels like a good live bet on the Chargers. Like they'll go down and have to come back and win this game. Come from behind, and they'll do it and win and not cover. Like one of those.
Yeah, my last 2 live bets have been epic. I had Buffalo down 15 on FanDuel. I bet them on the money line, and I had last night Minnesota. I got 5-1. Not on a lot of money, but like whatever, it doesn't matter. You play it, but 5-1, and they came back and McCarthy got it done for me. So, yeah, amazing. The live betting thing is really cool. Obviously, you can't do it at Megabucks, but that's kind of what the world has come to. It's minute to minute, play to play. In tennis, it's like shot to shot. I mean, God, it's really.
How do you live bet tennis?
You can do it. I did it, and it was bad. I lost, but it was, I woke up, I sent you guys a text the next morning. Note to self: don't drunk live bet tennis anymore. Didn't work out for me.
Oh, God, it's funny. All right, man. Everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Our first pod of the year. We're excited to be back.
Yep.
We'll be
Thanks
back
for listening, everyone.
We'll try to get onto a more normal schedule. Probably going to be Wednesday nights. That's what we're aiming for. But if you're not in a league yet, get in one. If you're still thinking about starting a league, there's still plenty of time. Now's actually, one of the great things about wannamakeabet.com is, unlike most other contests for the NFL in the season, that the deadline is week 1, and that's pretty much any fantasy, any survivor, any pick pool. Want to make a bet? You can start anytime, and most leagues are still open through the month of September.
That's right.
These leagues that go for the full year, like our big one in New Orleans, our big one in New York, the big one in Philadelphia, they're all still accepting members. Most of them, you're getting a bankroll of 50,000 points, and you're going to bet those points against all the games, both college and NFL, or maybe just NFL, depending on what the league is. So, get into a league if you're not in one yet, or start your own. More importantly, that's what we really love, and we're happy to give favorable pricing to first-time commissioners to help you get it off the ground. And every week that goes by, it's just a reminder that it's the best game on the internet, because this is so impossible to predict and handicap. And the quicker you lose real money, the quicker you'll probably realize that that's true.
Yep. Knowing your downside is your entry fee, and giving you the units that come to you after week 8, and then the units that come to you again before the NFL playoffs. It really gives you a long runway to enjoy the season without really killing yourself, in the wallet. Although we know most people will play FanDuel or whatever you play, DraftKings or whatever it is. I mean, there's plenty of ways outside of Megabucks to lose real money, but manage your money, manage your bankroll. And if you're good, 70% of the pot, that's real money. You're never going to make that, gambling on your own, that type of multiple on your money. You will not win with a bookie. I can almost assure you of that.
Yeah, that's almost guaranteed. All right, everyone. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. Good luck with your selections, and we'll keep tuned in to the newsletter. That's where we'll have our final picks of the week on Sunday morning. It'll come out, and we'll catch you all next week.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy. See ya. Have a good one.
See you, Jack.